The All Smiling Faces podcast is now sponsored by Tyre Spot, the Northeast's leading tyre supplier with branches across the region. Tyre Spot don't just do tyres, they cover everything from servicing to wheel alignment. They can handle every aspect of your car's maintenance. For more information, visit tyrespot.co.uk. Enjoy the episode. Everybody, welcome back to the Always Smiling Faces podcast on the GallowgateShots YouTube channel. As you can see, it is myself, Chris, your host tonight, joined by Mr. Walker and Stephen Best. Hi, boys. How are you? Start with you, Mark. How are you? I haven't seen you for a little while.
Good, I'm good.
You're cold.
I'm on the... I've been cold.
Sitting there with your coat on,
Yeah.
We've all got I've got a jacket on at night as well.
It's because we haven't got the heater on. Turn the heating on. Somebody join, become a member so we can afford to put the heating on. Cost of living crisis.
It's not cold in here.
Nah, it's not that cold at
It's
night.
not as cold as... It'll get worse.
So how have you been, Mark? Like I said, I haven't seen you for a couple of weeks. You've been at Dortmund.
Dortmund.
Been ill.
I got the Dortmund death last week. I thought I got away with it, to be fair, because most people were ill the back end of the week of that game, the game. But I wasn't in a good place last week. Like,
Are you, Bestie? I'm glad you said it.
Done myself in there, didn't I?
I'm sound.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of,
All right.
just alright. But I'm going to sneeze at some point very soon, so there's that. But yeah,
Well, we'll move back to
Well,
Mark.
that's how I started.
Mark, so let's just have a little conversation about your trip.
there it is.
Are you all right? Your trip to Dortmund. So,
Excuse me.
Obviously, we'll know the result. We've had no club football to talk about, so let's talk about your trip. How did it go? How did it start off?
It didn't start particularly well, like, to be fair, as some people might know that follow me on social media. Yeah.
So talk through your day.
So we had the great idea of we'd start travelling on the Sunday so that we could get there, have plenty of time, soak up the culture. The culture. No, not the Mika Richards type of culture, even though that would help. We're staying in Dusseldorf. Yeah, so train down to London on the Sunday so we could fly from Heathrow. What normally takes, 2.5, 3 hours on the train? Wasn't going to Ipswich, so it was quite short. 7.5 hours to get to London. So not the best of starts. So anybody that's been going via Darlington in the last couple of weeks will know that it's down to one line. Evening, Daryl. So 7.5 hours to get to London. Gets checked into the hotel. By this point, we literally had hours before we needed to be up because we were flying early hours of Monday morning.
What time were you supposed to fly?
Just before 7 a.m.
Right.
So I had to be at the airport for 5?
So it took you 7.5 hours to get to London.
Yep.
What time do you arrive in London?
It was about 20 to 10 at night.
Straight at the pub?
Obviously.
Hotel bar?
Yeah. Well, dump our bags and out.
Okay.
Found a pub, grabbed something to eat. Literally, the kitchen was closing, so just whatever was left. And then back to the hotel to bed, get our heads down for. So I'd be up at 4.
So, you set your alarm.
Set the alarm.
You wake up at 4.
And you know what it's like when you're staying away from home. You're in a strange bed. You know you've got to be up early.
Did you have the porn on the big telly?
No, I was only a little telly. You never sleep well, do you? So it took us ages to get the kip, and then literally what seemed like 5 minutes later, my alarm's going off. Mm-hmm. Woke up, groggy as out. Looked at the time. Start getting sorted. Text message from British Airways. Your flight's cancelled.
Did it start with M?
Good morning. Great news for you. Your flight's cancelled. So
Cancelled or delayed? Just categorically cancelled.
Cancelled. No alternative. Nothing. Your flight is cancelled. So
what had it done? That's a woke mob again, isn't it?
So that was just
Cancelled joke.
Yeah, I was choosing to ignore it.
Very good.
So obviously your world collapses at that point. So it says have a look on the app or contact us on this number for further information. So Brian gets on the phone, starts calling. I'm on the app seeing what's going on.
Good choice. I would have chose the app as well.
So I couldn't be bothered. Well, not that I would be capable of speaking to anybody at that time of the morning, like. But so I'm flicking through there. He's on the phone. Start having a look on Twitter as well because I'm thinking surely other people have been affected by this. Sure enough, I've seen a couple of messages. One from Adam who follow on Twitter, part of Supporters Trust, etc. And he was on the same flight, and he'd arrived down even later on Monday, on the Sunday night, and it just went straight to the airport and basically got his head down in the airport. So he was there already at Heathrow when the news came through. So to be fair, that probably worked out better for him because he was able to go up to the desk and just speak to somebody there and then. Yeah. And they literally got him on the next flight, which was something like 9:30.
Which isn't too bad.
No, that's a couple hours later than planned. Still going to be, it's only an hour's flight, so you're there, time difference, you're going to be there for lunchtime, which is ideal. So he gets there, there's a few other lads down there, he says they've just gone over to London City and jumped on a flight from there. So I'm thinking, well, we can make that. So I'm telling Brian this because he's through to speaking to somebody at this point. And they were like, yeah, I can see this flight. Can you get there? Yeah, we can get there. Right, let's do that. Oh, there's only one seat. so we can't even do that. So, and that would have got we're in just after dinner time.
Did it cross anybody's mind? Did anybody say it? I'll get this one. You get
the
going. Next.
Nah, we wouldn't. You can't do that.
Just go on Brian's shoulders and be big long coat.
So I could have the raccoon joke.
Yeah.
Get stand on each other's shoulders. Brian's only pretty small, like,
yeah, he's quite small, yeah.
Could have got on my shoulders. But we didn't have a long Mac.
No.
So that was kiboshed. So the next option that they gave was flying at just after 4, I think it was 4:20, to a completely different airport. So flying to Cologne, which isn't too bad. Bestie, you'll know that's because you've been there. It's kind of the other side of Dortmund to where we were staying in Dusseldorf. So it would have taken an hour and a half to get from Cologne into Dusseldorf. So that was it. That's what we were going with. Meant we could go back to bed. We had a flight. We were getting there, albeit much, much later than we were expecting to. So got our head down for a few more hours, and then got up, went for some breakfast, and then headed to the airport.
That sounds like a great result to me.
Well, not when you want to just be there, don't you? To get over there.
I think Betty's more looking at the idea of going back to bed.
When my alarm goes out at 4 o'clock in the morning after a 5 hour longer than it should be, I think I'm coming.
I mean, I'm not like I did enjoy the little nap.
Get the flight booked straight away. See if you can get a bit late check out and then back to Kip.
So, but obviously this has impacted a lot of people that were flying over. Turned out there's 180 people on the flight, and I've got to say probably the majority of the flight was. Did
you get a reason as to why it was cancelled?
It just came through something like, not like an official reason. It was just something like, I can't even remember what the. I probably still got the
low rate adhesion.
It was just one of them nonsense reasons.
Leaves on the runway.
Like, I still got the.
And like a Concorde, didn't it? It wasn't leaves. It was detritus.
But so it's like it's just a generic reason as to, like, it wasn't that there was a problem with the plane or anything like that. They just cancelled it. So we turns up at the airport 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So after going getting a bit of bait, and honestly, the airport is absolute carnage. There's just black and white shirts everywhere.
Is that London City? Did you say?
Well, this is Heathrow because we're flying from there then, and you could just see and hear that literally that the people that were at the airport had been there since 4 o'clock in the morning, and later there was just absolute states everywhere,
really?
Absolutely hammered, and I'm like, dear me.
People have just been sat in the airport all day
drinking. Just sat in the airport drinking, because obviously that's
a dangerous game in itself as well.
Isn't it? Your flight, so, careful there. Like.
In fact, it's
one of the day.
it's a Wetherspoons in Heathrow, so the prices aren't too bad.
Are the same prices as normal Wetherspoons, or is it
a little bit more?
Airport,
but I think it was like 5-6 quid a pint, which, to be fair, if you
that's a lot,
quite a bit more. That
well, it is for a Wetherspoons, but if you, to be fair, the Wetherspoons that we went to in the for breakfast, that's the cheapest Wetherspoons I've ever been to in my life. It was in Hounslow,
Essex,
and it was West, literally the stop before Heathrow. And it was less than £3 a pint. Couldn't believe it.
All the pilots in there and that.
Oh.
That's why his first flight got cancelled.
But that's the story doesn't finish there.
No, right, there's
So
more.
because we got in, we're like, right,
We still haven't left.
we'll get there.
England
We're
yet.
still in the airport. But we find a table, get seated down, and then we're like, well, hold on. When we get to Cologne, surely there's going to be like some provision to get with to Dusseldorf, whether they'll stick a bus on or we've got to get the train or something like that. Because as we said, it was like an hour and a half on the train to get there. So started looking at the prices and I was like, God, this is going to cost me like, I mean, there's even tickets. Admittedly, it was on the high speed train, which would have been a bit quicker, but it was €80 a ticket. I'm like, well, can I expect with just to jump on that and have to pay that? So went up to the desk, spoken to a nice young lady there, and just said, "What's the crack?" Obviously, got cancelled this morning. We've been put on this flight. Blah de blah. She said, "Well, let us find out." So she starts making some calls. Takes her ages to get through because she can't book anything at the desk. But while she's doing it, she's looking, and she's seeing that there's actually a flight from Heathrow straight into Dusseldorf at 5:00. I'm like, well, I don't know. Why didn't they just book? Why didn't they just book? We're onto that one. Mm-hmm. Is the tickets available for it? Yeah. Well, get we're on that one then. So, admittedly, it was slightly later than the one that they put were on by 40 minutes
Overall, in the grand
But-
scheme of things.
It would have taken her an hour and a half to get from Cologne. Takes you
At best.
20 minutes from Dusseldorf airport into the centre of Dusseldorf. So it was a win-win situation. So did that, moved we're onto that one. So it meant we had a little bit longer in the airport. Got talking to a couple of lads in the airport, lads that watched the podcast as well. So spoke to Max, who sat with for the afternoon, listening in as well. He went and spoke to them. He got chucked onto that flight as well because he was having to sit and wait for that one. So all worked out well.
So you get there eventually.
Got there eventually. 9:30 on Monday night. So a good over 12 hours later than we should have been. 7.5 hour train journey, a cancelled flight, delays through the day, but we got there. Obviously, again, straight out, didn't we? So checked into the hotel, dumped our bags, quick freshen up, out, and met some of our good subscribers, members, watchers, listeners, and Scott.
Yeah. Scott said it's a shame that we asked him to do the vlog rather than you, because that would have been unbelievably entertaining watching you.
Watching me cry.
Yeah, that would have been good content, that.
So,
But you had a good time overall, mate.
It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I cannot fault the whole time of once getting over there. The people were fantastic, like the Dortmund fans, all of the locals in both Dusseldorf and Dortmund. Met so many people that obviously know from home, people that watch the podcast and stuff like that, coming up and chatting. Loads of friends out there, and just wherever you turned, any corner you went round or any toilet you went into, there was somebody you knew. So absolutely fantastic. It's just one of those great times to be there and enjoy it.
All right. Well, we'll come back to Dortmund later on. Okay. We didn't have anything to talk about today, and I'm not going to lie.
Nah.
I really struggled.
I watched on the telly.
Yeah, I really, really struggled today to come up with talking points and topics.
We could do a live watch along of the England Macedonia
They're
game,
losing.
but it would be shit.
England are losing, yeah, apparently. So there's a couple of comments in there saying England are currently losing. But yeah, I struggled, so I went out to Twitter. And the only real responses that we got about talking points were food. And we'll talk about food quite a lot. So we might come back
At length
to
last
that
week.
at the end. I think it didn't help that on the tweet that I put out, Decker replied with a photo of his takeaway, which just encouraged more food chat, as Decker does. But obviously people will realise Decker isn't here tonight. It is just a three-way. And Decker put a photo in our WhatsApp group earlier. And it was the main one, wasn't it? The GallowgateShots one. He put a photo in. And, oh no, he didn't actually.
It was on Facebook.
It was on Facebook or
On
Instagram.
Facebook,
I saw it on Instagram, sorry. So
Oh, that photo. I was
photo.
thinking of a different one that he.
So
put in-
Decker is at a
in the
spa
group.
day with Mrs. We won you now. That's what I'm just going to call her from now on. And we're quite a hairy podcast in areas. We've had this discussion before.
Yeah.
Me and Mark not so much on the top of our heads, but everywhere else we're quite a hairy bunch over here.
Yes, I. Predominantly us three as well, I hasten to
Yeah.
laugh again. Yeah.
Decker has a chest like a dolphin. Have you seen him?
It's a smooth chest, that.
All right, he's waxed it like.
He must wax his chest, you know.
Yeah, it's, what is he, 37, 38, Decker?
No, he's 39 now, isn't he?
Is he?
Not 40, isn't he his 40th next year?
It's not right not to be hairy at that age. Like. It's not right.
He is quite fair as well, though, isn't he?
Unless it's
So
over,
that could-
unless it's over
that could help.
Maxim and he's furious when he does.
He's not very fair then, is he?
Fairness, like,
Very unfair.
He is quite fair though, yeah. Man, that's a peculiar one for me. That like,
It would be a great time to be sponsored by Manscaped and that, but we're not.
no,
So unfortunately, we're
He's
not.
100% sponsored by IMAC.
Imac, yeah, he is. He's very dolphin-esque. He is. But right, let's talk about some football. There has been a comment sent in. Where is it?
you know, like hair transplants.
Yes,
You know how they take the hair from like round the back, the bottom of your head. the
Yes.
back of your head and
Take
it's
it
the
It's
follicles.
like,
Well,
yeah,
they take the double follicles, don't they?
So they couldn't dig body hair. I'm assuming.
What do you mean?
So like if you had like a
Like your arse hair?
or a chest hair or whatever, they couldn't
It
make
would
that.
be
Like,
very wispy.
take the follicle out, yeah, wispy. Oh, my hair's getting away with it, but they couldn't take the stuff off your chest and kind of put on these buns.
I
I think they're single hairs, aren't they?
don't know because was it? I don't know, but I'm sure they might. You know,
Yeah.
from
I was
anywhere
thinking-
on your body.
You know when Rooney got his done, and like I say, they go from the back up like that. So eventually you're gonna have hair there and nothing on the back and sides, like a chava.
Right.
So like if you got if the hair was from elsewhere in your body,
They continuously grow.
Is it
you
not
wouldn't
because like the
I'm not a
hairs on like your, say your arms and your chest and that are more fine, aren't they?
coarse,
Aye.
very coarse. But I've got that here, like the side of me. I think I've got pubes inside of my head. Like when I was in my early, it used to be straight, like really straight. My hair,
You got curly hair?
and no,
No.
I've just literally just said, literally.
No, you said
About a second before.
and you were saying there was coarse on.
No, it's coarse, but it was really straight. And then when I was in me, like when I started growing my beard,
Oh, dear, I remember your
it grew in
your
really,
early
really-
'90s Darren Peacock
Oh,
phase.
wonderful, wonderful, very well kept.
Very
as well.
soft rock.
But it was and it grows in like coarse. It's like basically me body hair starts here and ends like at the top of my feet.
I've got hairy toes, like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You can tell it's international break.
You've even got the game on here.
Struggling, yeah, we're struggling, everybody. If anybody does have any questions, send them our way. We'll go through them. But first up,
Why doesn't hair grow on the palm of your feet and your hands?
Is it not because of not
the
wearing tape?
palm of your feet?
Bottom of your the
it
sole.
sound like?
The
Your
sole.
sole,
The
that's the
soles of
word.
your feet.
No, I meant your palms and like the bottom of your feet.
Is it not because they are like? I know people who've got like bald patches like on that. I've got quite. There's a little patch here on somewhere on my legs because that's where my jeans would
Rub.
when I wore. So I think it's because obviously the palms. Yeah, the palms.
Is that your way of like saying I've got like powerful calves?
Oh, I've got very powerful calves, of course. Like.
Do you know what? You're both incorrect. Do you know what it is?
No.
So do you know when you go in the bath for a bit too long?
Yeah, and it goes all
It's
wrinkly.
wrinkly.
Yeah, do you know why it goes wrinkly?
Because you haven't got any follicles.
Because it helps with grip. So,
Oh.
Really?
yes, helps with grip. That's why you go wrinkly, helps with your grip.
So if you
So if you had hair in those places, it'd be pointless having that mannerism in your body.
so if you've got like a pot of jam that you can't open,
Can't in the bath for a while.
get it.
Yeah, but
You open it with your feet.
Next time maybe goes for a soak, I'm just going to take loads of jars up.
that's why you get wrinkles on your feet and your hands.
Why does it help your grip? What's the benefit of being?
I've got no idea, but that's what it's for. That's fact. Absolute stat
I
of
was
the
thought it
day.
was
That.
just-
Have you just made that up? Or
No, I
has
swear
somebody
to
put
God.
it in the
I was thought it
comments?
was just getting expanded because of the heat.
No, I swear
and
to God,
the moisture.
the reason you get the wrinkles is for your grip. I
You,
swear to
you've
God.
just made this up, haven't you?
If people are watching
when,
live,
when
go and
you
find
said
out.
that, I thought somebody'd put it in the comments as like
I'm right.
you know somebody intellectual, not you.
I'm 100% right. That's why you get wrinkles. 100%.
Chris,
it
I wanna-
sounds plausible.
I want to take this at face value, but I'm cynical. I'm cynical about this one.
It seems plausible.
I've got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Whilst we're on, we talked before the podcast a little bit about how Decker loves to back a winner,
Yes.
and I said if he was American, he wouldn't be a Newcastle fan.
Yes.
If yous were Americans, who would you? And you had no affinity with Newcastle whatsoever. So the Premier League's getting massive in America. if you were in Philadelphia, let's say, who would your Premier League team be?
I suppose it depends on your age, though, doesn't it?
I suppose a lot of it does.
Because, like, if you think when we
Well,
were growing up, it was Man United.
Well, that's
the
what
big team, wasn't it?
That's
And
kind of
then-
because Decker's would be. Decker would have gone Man U or
Yeah,
Man
yeah.
City or Arsenal,
Yeah.
Liverpool, whoever was winning at the time. Mine was always picked on colour. So the reason I like the Steelers and the Penguins and the Pittsburgh Pirates is because of the way black and white,
yeah,
or black, white,
Same,
and gold,
yeah.
and that's like when we had the book that was then.
I don't know. It's quite a hard question to answer, really, isn't it? When we've got that attachment already to a club. I think I've had a current situation where I really wanted to get into ice hockey and watch ice hockey. And one of the gaffers at work is a big ice hockey fan. So I went to him and I went, right, I want to just start watching ice hockey, but I need a team. Obviously, I don't want to go for one of the favorite, the Man U teams.
Yeah,
Mighty Ducks are good.
Apparently they are, yeah. And I need to avoid those sort of teams. And obviously, any
You know,
suggestions?
proper, authentic.
Yes.
Yeah.
I see. Any suggestions? Because hockey's made up of the original 6 or something like that, isn't it? You've got the Penguins, the Bruins, and there's obviously a few more.
Rangers probably.
Can't remember, but
Yeah,
there's 4.
LA Kings maybe.
Maple Leafs one?
Toronto, yeah.
Yeah, so they're one as well. So he said, "Oh, there's blah 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 blah." So I looked into it and I decided that I would support a new franchise, which was
Seattle.
Krakens.
Yeah, Seattle.
So
Kraken,
I
yeah.
thought I'll support
You just
them.
support them because you like rum.
That is probably one of the reasons why. And they had a cool
Fraser.
intro at the start of the thing, because ice hockey, they do this daft intro and they like put
Yeah.
holograms and that on the
It's insane.
rink and
It's
stuff.
insane. I was at the Madison Square Garden once to watch New York Rangers, and like the show that they put on the rink, like the projections, unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's just a big screen on the floor. Basically, it's class. It looks
So
really good.
I just thought I'll just pick them just because I like the kits. I like the mascot with it being a Kraken and stuff. And obviously I've got a nautical sleeve and stuff. And I thought I'll just go for them. I've not watched a single game.
It's quite a hard thing to follow. I think when you're watching the boxing,
I
because
used to play about 4 times a day.
and the puck's really small. It's not like on NHL when you can make like the game when you can make the puck like a bit bigger or make it grow or something like that. Like you've got it. Where the hell is it?
Yeah.
It's murder trying to watch it. You're just following who looks like they're heading towards it. But I think it's really. I do enjoy it. I enjoy watching it. It is hard to follow at times. Like
Yeah, I thought I just want to start watching a sport, but
Yeah.
then I feel because then I realise what time the games are.
Yeah.
And I say I can't be asked to watch it at that time. I'm not going to go and watch it back.
they play loads. It's like you say.
Yeah.
It's like the basketball and the baseball. They play like 8 games a season over like 6-7 months.
You could just go watch the Whitley Warriors.
Remember Durham Wasps?
Durham Wasps, yeah.
Did they have a B team?
I like that
I
one.
love that joke.
I like that one.
I love that joke, mate.
I like that
Now,
one.
obviously, John Hall made the one down at the arena.
What was I listening to the other week about the sporting club? It might be in the podcast that Lineker and Shearer do together.
The rest is
I'm sure
football.
they're talking about that and Bobby Robson, how they said, no, it wasn't that. I forget what it was now. But they're talking about the sporting club and how it basically, when Newcastle were floated, one of the stipulations was the reason. Was it why Bobby left? No, it wasn't Bobby. It was Keegan. I think that was Keegan. One of the reasons Keegan left was he was so important in getting, because the Falcons rugby team, the Cobras,
Eagles.
the ice hockey team. at
Yeah,
the time.
the Eagles, obviously, basketball.
And the basketball Eagles as well, yeah. And Keegan had invested so much, he got to know the people that run the clubs that much. And when they floated, they said to him, right, you've got to bin these off because I'm not going to make more money. So Keegan says, like that was one of the reasons he was starting to get disenfranchised with stuff, because the club was becoming more of a business, because it was around that time, wasn't it?
Dan Whitten says John Hall bought the Wasps and moved them to Newcastle.
He did, yeah.
I did.
Then they were shite after that.
For a long time, I don't think I've won out since I've been with Newcastle. And that's why that Durham Wasps B team joke, it's like our generation, like kids ones. But Durham Wasps are always on ITV News.
They were, but then, I mean, when he bought them, they were already starting to fail by that point, because all attendances, I remember the ice rink down at Durham was falling into disrepair and all of that kind
It's
of
not there
thing.
now, is it?
So
I don't know
more
where it
likely
is.
knocked it down.
Even
But like,
it
it's
is quite
still
topical,
a
though,
big thing
'cause-
within the UK. Like
I've got a mate.
Hull got team Sheffield,
Sheffield,
Edinburgh. There's still a lot of.
Is it a more
around
northern
about.
thing?
No, well,
you get
Chester, North Wales is a couple of teams, which is classed as being north in some quarters, like. But I've got a mate, my mate Dan I work with. He played for the Warriors for a long time. Obviously, the Longstaffs have got connections with them as well, because Sean Longstaff's dad was and Matty Longstaff's dad was an international, wasn't he, for England or Great Britain, whichever kind of, I don't know how it works in ice hockey, but he played for the Wasps.
Was he not the head coach at Whitley
Yeah,
Warriors
I've got
for
a
a
feeling
while
he
as
might
well?
have
I'm
been,
sure.
aye.
So it is quite topical.
Yeah, aye. then like
Tenuous link.
the sporting club thing worked for a while because the rugby team won the league, didn't it? With Rob
Massively, yeah. It was when we were playing, was it the FA Cup final? And they were in maybe the Challenge Cup final or something like that. Or we might have been playing Stevenage. I can remember being down in London. And they were playing one day and we were playing the next.
Yeah, it's not. I don't know if you got this at school. Maybe you wouldn't have, Mark, because obviously you're an old man. But and there it is. There's me one. Actually, apart from that one in the corridor, really. We used to get like flyers in the school for like go to the arena to watch the ice hockey, basketball. Like £2.
They still do it for basketball.
Still get it for basketball. Yeah.
Like, I used to love it. Because I mean, our tail used to go for a fair bit. Like, Friday night.
But there's been one on tonight at the Gates of Stadium.
So my school used to do the basketball for cheap and Sunderland tickets. Used to give them away all the time at school.
Sunderland don't give away tickets, do they?
I used to give them away loads.
Where did you go to school? Were you King George?
Bringburn.
Yeah.
Stinky Bringy.
Aye.
Right, let's go through some Newcastle questions. So this was the first one in by Liam Knowles that says Ekateke. Is that how he says his name? I always struggle. Ekateke. Ekateke.
Etc.
I
don't know.
Yes or no? Apparently there's links once again.
There is, yeah.
Don't know enough about him. I saw that before, but I don't know. He left. Is he still at PSG?
Yes, but he's available.
And since he went, it hasn't really gone to plan for him.
Well, I mean, we did say this at the time, didn't we? That it was a big risk him going there because he's not going to get a huge amount of minutes.
By the same token, though, if he's good enough, he looked like Phil Foden at Man City, who was a bit of a kind of one-off, I suppose, 'cause he's that good. But like, if you're good enough and you're training with Neymar, with Lionel Messi, when they were there, with Mbappe, with all those lads, you think, well, surely you're going to pick something out of them, or you're going to get the games in the cup. But apparently, it's been a total catastrophe.
Yeah, and I think
I don't know.
Did the manager not come out? One, the coaches come out and not really paint a great picture of him.
The question is attitude and stuff like that, and I think that is because they maybe expected him to fight for his place more. But there's undoubtedly a talented player in there. You know, he had a very good season, which is why he ended up at PSG last season. That's why we weren't interested in him. So it's just that doubts around his attitude and willingness to come. But as a fresh start, he's a good option. You know, is the similarities between Isak? Like we know how
that's the reason we got Isak, wasn't it?
Yeah. He was kind of obviously it cost were a lot more.
Yeah.
To get him, but it's that kind of similar vein of player. But
so since he's gone to Paris Saint-Germain, apparently it was a loan deal first of all. He went there on loan. He made 25 appearances. Obviously a lot of them would have been substitute appearances. Scored 3 goals. This season, how many appearances do you think he has overall?
None.
I don't think he's had any, has he?
One appearance so far this season. So it's obviously
he's massively out of favour.
He's not getting game time. He is massively out of favour. I think we're in the position right now because I think the rumours were because of the situation we're in, the minute and the issues which we have with strikers, is that bring them in on loan.
Yeah, that would make more sense than just buying them outright.
Of course it would. But because of this situation, do you need somebody that's proven in the Premier League?
It's difficult to attract what is essentially a third choice striker to come and to play there. And if you're an established Premier League striker, you're not going to want to be sitting as a third choice unless you're at the latter end of your career, like Chris Woods was when we signed him and brought him in. It's ironic because he probably would have been, an ideal candidate had he have still been knocking around the place to come in. But
he's at PSG now, Bestie, and he's right down the pecking order, out of favour, right? So what's to say he comes to Newcastle and our lads are fit? It's going to happen the same again, really, isn't it?
Depends on how good he is. I mean, PSG are a bit of an outlier, aren't they? Because they've got that much. I mean, I'm talking about Neymar and Messi. They aren't there anymore.
No.
So there's that. Did Ousmane Dembele? Ousmane Dembele is there on the right. You got Mbappe.
Mbappe is the position because he likes to come from the left. Pretty much the same as Isak.
Yeah. I don't know if he. It's a funny because we all say people have said all season that we need a third striker in case the worst happens to Isak and Wilson. But Isak's apparently fit again now. But so I don't know. It kind of feels a bit. I wouldn't want to turn my nose up and say, "Oh, I can't have him. He's I don't know anything about him, really." So if he, like Mark says, if PSG have seen something and gone, right, we'll buy him because we can, especially thinking like, who have they had up front, then there must be something there. But is it his attitude? Is it just because it hasn't worked? I mean, I've got no idea.
Happens. It happens sometimes.
It can happen. I'm sure that he's not the worst option we could go for. But again, like I say, I don't know. I don't know anything about him really, so I wouldn't want to.
Do you think when in a position now though where we need to stop obviously going to thinking, oh, third choice striker, we need to really start looking at somebody to replace Wilson? As much as I love Wilson, I do.
Yeah.
And he's got the best goal ratio this season so far.
In the league, I think.
Yeah, in the league.
Yeah.
So he's an absolute fantastic player. He is, but obviously you always have the doubt of Wilson if he's going to stay fit for the season. Apparently this time he's out for up to 6 weeks, which is quite a chunk.
It's Christmas, isn't it, basically? That's
It's
a lot of
big
fixtures.
chunk, and especially on the back of Isaac picking up his injury, who's been out for a number of weeks as well. Do we need now to start looking at a replacement for Wilson?
I think that time,
And Wilson becomes your third striker.
yeah, that time will come. It's difficult to see it at the minute because of the way Wilson has played this season, with the stats that you've just mentioned and everything that he's kind of brought to the team. But ultimately, age isn't on his side. Things will start to come to a point where, that is the natural kind of way things will go, and he'll slip away and Isaac will become number one.
Not seeing it with Trippier. I'm not saying Trippier's at that point where he's starting it, but his form hasn't been wonderful the last month, whatever it is. But when they brought in Livramento in the summer, that was kind of that planning. So when Trippier does start it, we've got someone in there and he's been brilliant when he's played.
Been great, yeah.
You could argue the same for Lewis Hall and maybe it's Dan Burn, because Dan Burn appears to be, he's been left back for 2 years nearly now, so he is our left back as much as he's centre half.
Yeah.
Really a centre half. He's playing
He's your first choice left back.
Yeah. So and Lewis Hall's obviously been brought in with that in mind as well, So I think it would be ridiculous if they weren't looking at not replacing Wilson immediately, but having someone in mind to go right when Wilson does start it, because he has had his injury problems since long before he played for us. And I hopefully the time where he kind of loses his quality is a long way down the line yet, but it is going to happen because it's just life, Yeah. I'm certain that Dan Ashworth and Eddie Howe have been getting together and saying at some point we're going to have to address this, and do we get someone in the short to medium term, i.e. this season, early next season, to kind of start competing for that spot, or do we leave it a bit? And I think, or do we try and promote from within?
It's a tough ask for somebody to come in and not, because the dynamics of that team at the minute are unbelievable. They really are. The mentality which they have and the connection that a squad have. You don't want to upset too many people, but you're going to have to at some point, Mark, and Wilson's probably going to be the prime example of that, where he's been number one for a long time now. And like I said at the start, I absolutely love Wilson. He's a mint striker. And I think if you're looking at strikers over time, Callum Wilson has to be up there with obviously he's nowhere near the talent of what Shearer was. But when you're talking about Newcastle strikers, Callum Wilson's always going to be in that conversation from now on, in regards to the best that we've had.
When you look at sorry, Mark.
No. Well,
I'll let you have a go.
I think you were probably going to say similar to me, but you look at where he now sits in our Premier League goal scorers. He's going down there as absolutely one of our best strikers because of the goals that he scored and
I think
the
this was
figures
a
that he's got.
conversation which Matthew may have brought up in our WhatsApp group a couple of weeks ago, and he asked the question: who would you choose, Demba Ba or Callum Wilson?
Tough one, isn't it? Because I love Demba, but he only played centre forward for half a season. And then Cisse came in. Or maybe Demba played striker for most of the time when Cisse came at the end of that first season, 2011-2012. And then I played Cisse in the middle with Demba as a winger. It didn't really work as well.
Yeah, it didn't.
But Wilson, for me, I was actually pretty much exactly word for word what Mark said there. You look at the strikers we've had since Shearer, I think you're hard-pressed to find one better than Callum Wilson. One who's done more. I love Demba Ba, but he had that £7 million buyout that Chelsea activated after 2 seasons. So, but he started slowly. It took a while. I think he got a hat trick against Blackburn at home around this time of year, actually November time, maybe late October, and that was the start of him. He went on a great run. Then Cisse came in.
Cisse, and then he went on another great run.
And he was like, I've never seen a more. I don't know what I'm talking about Cisse, but I've never seen someone who it was like night and day with him. with regards to his instinctive finishes, and when he had to kind of get the ball on the deck and do something with it. Like if you give him the ball, I've said a long time, if you give him the ball on a break and he's got the ball 40 yards from goal and he says score a goal, he's
just a dribble over it every single time.
No chance. If you chuck the ball at him waist high, facing the wrong way from goal, 35 yards out, go and hit it, you'll score.
Like, think fast.
Outrageous, just a really good, an incredible instinct. And Wilson's got a little bit of that. There's a few times Wilson's broke through and I thought, like, I don't fancy him here. And sure enough, he's picked the wrong pass, or he's been caught up, or he's whatever. But I think if you look at the strikers, is he what third top scorer now behind Shearer and Shola? Or is he second top?
No, Shearer and Beardsley, innit?
Yeah,
he overtook Cole.
Ferdinand. Yeah, there was a few that you overtook recently.
I'm sure it must have been Shola and it might have been Shola the last maybe.
I can't remember because they kept on showing
it. Was Cole,
every game they kept on showing it.
Ferdinand and Cole, and I think there's only Beardsley and Shearer left in front of him.
Yeah.
Was
a lot of it based on the Premier League, though?
That's Premier League.
All Premier League.
That probably takes a big chunk of.
If you go beyond
away,
that, then you're looking at huge numbers for him to.
That's huge enough, like, but he's been fantastic, hasn't he? And he's been playing in the crap team as well for the most part.
Yeah.
Well, with Beardsley, the 2 years, did Beardsley do 4 years before he went to Bolton? And he was in like a team that finished third, sixth, and second twice. Playing with Shearer, playing with Ferdinand, playing with Andy Cole.
Beardsley,
But I'm not saying the team carried him, but he was a massive part of it. Yeah. But when you're playing in a great team, I mean, Wilson for a long time, it was 8 men. Wilson, St. Maximin, under Bruce and stuff like that, just go and score a goal.
It's mad to think like how many goals Beardsley scored, but also how many he assisted as well. Like, Cole wouldn't have scored half of the goals that he did if it wasn't for Beardsley.
Do you reckon? Oh, I've never thought about this before.
100%.
If we hadn't sold Andy Cole in where was it, January 95, so you've got Beardsley and Ferdinand up front in 95, 96, do you reckon we win the league?
100%.
All right.
100%. Yeah.
I think you might be right. 100%. Because Cole didn't quite work at Man U straight away from.
To be fair, it didn't work straight away from him yet. Took him, well, not as long as it did in Man United, admittedly, but
he still ended up winning a triple.
It's that not having Peter Beardsley alongside of him was the big thing for him when he went there.
I love everyone. Les Ferdinand's like my hero at Newcastle. All this talk, Les Ferdinand's still my number 9, but number 1. You know what I mean? But I think if we'll have Beardsley and Cole that season, I think we'll win the league.
Yeah, I don't doubt it for a minute.
I never thought about that before.
You've never thought about that?
No.
Oh. All right.
No.
On the topic of strikers, and there's been a couple of people mention this.
The trains again, is it?
No.
Bus drivers.
So topical joke that.
Callum Lewis mentions it. RL90 mentions it, and he says Ivan Toney in January.
No, he's not on strike. He's banned.
He is banned.
We've already got one of them.
The ban's out in January, isn't it? So he's allowed to play competitive football coming up very soon. And he says that he's closest to Wilson with age on his side and has the arrogance to carry that number 9 shirt, plus unfinished business.
He's got an Arsenal.
If they can afford him, that's what I was listening to in another podcast this week, saying if Arsenal might not be able to afford him. So that would suggest to me they're looking at the thick end of £100 million for him. Like,
we can't.
They'll want money.
We're not going to
want big bucks
because of financial fair play. We'll speak about that a little bit later.
A little smile. I wonder why.
They've got that obviously the extra thing that we know about the English tax as well on them.
Yeah, yes,
that always adds a few extra zeros.
That's a woke mob for you.
So it's you're talking. If you think of what they paid for Declan Rice, what was that? 105, 105, 110? 120, 130?
Do you think?
You're going to be asking?
I don't think. I don't
I think we're too high there.
I don't think more than 100. I don't think he's held in as high a regard as Declan Rice. I still think he's going to be 80 at least, but I don't think more than 100. But then, like, who pays that? Liverpool can't afford it. Arsenal can't afford it. Do Man City need him?
I've got Haaland.
Man United, can they afford it? Because they've been spending a lot of money recently.
They're not, yeah.
Villa probably can't afford it. We can't afford it. Tottenham, Harry Kane money. Could he go to Spurs?
Well, Villa have got Ollie Watkins, haven't they? Which is obviously
he's brilliant him as well, mate.
Third choice England striker.
Yeah.
I think you're looking at 80 million at least.
Oh, okay.
So 30 million, but I think he's worth it though, isn't he?
That's terrible.
If he's scoring goals, and he's been out for 8 months, was his ban? Pretty much all of this year, isn't it?
Yeah.
near enough. If he's
he picked it up in the summer, didn't he?
if he's back scoring goals the way he was or has been from when Brentford came back up, even when he went back to Northampton, then he's a great signing for anybody. He, again, Haaland at Man City, you would say he wouldn't oust him. I think he gets a game for 19 clubs in the Premier League.
He's powerful. He's quick. He's good in front of goal. He's got that natural goal striker's finishing ability. It's
that arrogance as well, though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You need that arrogance to a certain degree.
Him, Tonali and Trippier in the same team. That's kind of...
Oh, bets off there. Right?
Well...
So, I don't know. I think...
Eyes offside.
Obviously, the issue is...
is.
The situation that we're in with the striker issue, it's unheard of. Having your two strikers knackered, absolutely knackered, to then come into the January transfer, we don't think, what we're
Well, you say that, but when we go back 20 years, the last time we played in the Champions League, we played. Admittedly, it wasn't through injury, but we played a majority of those games through that time without our main two strikers in Bellamy and Shearer.
I remember Brian Kerr starting a couple of times, didn't we?
We had Shola up front, Lamano, Loire.
But then you've got to think, like, if you look at the season this season, we're going to have our two strikers injured a hell of a lot of the season now. Not just the Champions League campaign, a lot of the season.
Yeah,
and that's worrying.
And that's why I think, honestly, we're going to have to look overseas, for somebody to come in, because that's where your value is, really. Is if you are looking for somebody that is proven in the Premier League, it costs you. If the English, it costs you. So you're going to have to be looking to find some of those little gems somewhere that, like we found with a Bruno, for instance, somebody that's over in maybe Germany or Spain.
Well, Championship, anyone for the Championship?
Kid at Madrid's not doing too badly.
Hustle.
Bring him back. Bring him back.
Andy Carroll scored from the halfway line as well in France.
I love that one, wasn't it?
John Joe as well. He's Turkey, isn't he, John Joe?
Yeah.
Turkey, yeah.
Getting his transplant. I wouldn't. What about the Championship? Look at the teams that went down last season. Adam Armstrong, bring him home.
Do you know, it always
Jamie
worries me,
Vardy.
like, people have tried this so many times, buying strikers from the Championship that are doing well, and it never really works, does it?
Ollie Watkins has done all right.
That depends.
Maybe.
I mean, Tony came to... He didn't sign
He
from
came
the
from League
Championship,
One.
but he was at Brentford when they got promoted. He's still doing it.
Yeah.
So, but I know what you mean. Like, look at Bobby Zamora years ago. Or, there was another one, Michael Chopra. Chopra was unreal at Cardiff, and he just went to Sunderland and couldn't do it. Didn't really do it for Newcastle. It didn't work.
It happens
Our
quite a
friend
bit.
Dwight
Like,
Gale.
happens quite a bit. Dwight Gale,
Yeah, it's a pretty good example. Much I love Dwight Gale. I think you're probably right. Yeah. Who else? I mean, I'm thinking relegated. Who was Leeds? No, there's one from Leeds. I fancy.
What was McCormick? What was
Ross McCormick.
Ross McCormack, yeah.
Was he not always linked to a move to the Premier League and it just never happened? There was a few around about that time. There was about three strikers around about that time, and people were saying, "Oh, blah blah blah, you'll be great in the Premier League," and then just never.
What they call one that was at Huddersfield, went to Borough.
Jordan
Rhodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been about the same time.
Aye. He was a good striker. Him as well. The Championship just didn't quite League One and Championship for Lee Clark and Huddersfield just didn't went to Borough and it didn't work for him. Funny how that happens sometimes.
But I think that obviously the part of the reason that we went and bought Gordon when we did as well is it was for an option of up front, and that's what we've had to have for the last couple of games is him playing through the middle, and he hasn't been terrible there, but he doesn't have the presence of
not
what Wilson gives you, and you lose a little bit of what he can bring when he is out wide.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, he's been unbelievable out wide this season.
There's a lot of shouts, yeah, but basically a lot of people saying, why don't we just recall Minte from? He's a Feyenoord, isn't he?
He's injured at the minute.
He is injured, but
I don't know if he's any good.
do you know what? This is what I mean. I think. Do you know what it is? I haven't watched enough games for him to play, and yes, he scored a handful of goals, and these goals look pretty decent that you have bagged. But then I'm just back in my mind. I'm just thinking back to the players of likes of Adam Armstrong, Adam Campbell, those sort of players. And you're thinking, will they ever get to that level?
Sorensen's
another great shout as well. Is Minty that next player where you think, oh, he's doing really well elsewhere? Then you bring him back and he struggles.
He's at least doing it. He's at least doing it in a. I mean, admittedly, the Eredivisie isn't the greatest league in the world, but it's a reasonable standard.
He's a Feyenoord, isn't he? So he's at a decent club as well.
He's
like
good
playing Champions
decent
League
clubs playing Champions League football. Like when you think over there, you think PSV, Feyenoord, Ajax, even though Ajax are absolutely
Rotten
Honky
this
for
season.
the
They're
nails.
terrible this season, aye.
But you know the quality European teams, but it just never, other than a handful, it never seems to work out particularly well with the people coming over from that league.
Well, who was the last player that was sent out on loan that came back and done well?
Probably Anderson.
Anderson to a certain
Bristol
degree,
Rovers,
but,
yeah,
but
aye.
he's doing well at this moment.
Obviously
in time.
Anderson and
He's not an
Longstaff were
established
both out.
Newcastle player, is he?
No,
So if we put a player out on loan that's came back and been established once they've returned,
Longstaff.
do you think? Longstaff,
Yeah. I mean, obviously his loans were a while ago now because he's
25, 26.
he's put himself away into the club. He's played regularly for the last 4 years at least.
Yeah, about that, I would say, yeah.
So,
Well, so it
and again,
can
the
happen.
circumstances of how he came in and got in there is you maybe would have liked to have seen him have more time out on
for
loan.
Jacob
But
Murphy, and yes, Jacob
Aye.
Murphy,
Aye.
he is an established player now, but he's not guaranteed starting 11 though.
He's
whatever
certainly-
turnaround
he's
he's
in the
had,
first
though, isn't it?
team.
He's first team.
Like I remember the Man City game early in the season when Miggy was like dead in his feet, and I was thinking Murphy was. I was like, God, we need Murphy. And I remember a couple of years ago that would never have you wouldn't have crossed your mind. I wish Jacob Murphy was, but he's bigger, he's bulkier. It's probably cost him an arm, but he's just looks really, really good. He looks strong. He looks a bit sharper. His decision making's a bit better than it was. Like I've
That
got
shirt he put in, that 40 put on Instagram the other day, he's absolutely henching.
he's a
Proper ripped.
Remember when
His legs are unreal.
was it last summer last year when John Joe came back and he was hang on, John Joe's been on the weights.
Aye.
Aye.
It was the year before, and Murphy's obviously they're taking it seriously. The lads are they've bought into it totally. In
Bad what training does, isn't it?
I know. Like Elliot Anderson apparently was as fit as a lop, ready to go at the start of the season, and he's been great. Had obviously the back injury, but I remember after the game at Hillsborough in the cup last season, thinking I don't think I didn't fancy him. I don't think he played very well. He wasn't alone, but I didn't see it. And what I've seen of him since, I was wrong on that one. I think I think he is first team quality where we are now, or where we're trying to be. He's good enough. Him like,
And you've got to think, when we sent him out on loan, we did it because he didn't have a future at the club.
when you went to Bristol Rovers.
He went, no, sorry, he had Murphy.
West Brom
He
wasn't
went
it?
to West Brom with
He went to
Bruce,
West Brom with
wasn't it?
Bruce.
I want to say Wednesday as well.
He was a Sheffield Wednesday.
I think
Because that's where he started
all of
playing
this out my
as a-
memory, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I honestly
He
think
was
I
at West
blocked all
Brom.
of this out my
His,
memory.
his career at Newcastle was done.
I remember he went to West Brom.
He was gone.
Was
It wasn't with Bruce. It was
was Gailey at
No, he
the
was
time?
at Sheffield Wednesday with.
Oh, sorry.
Bruce.
Yeah. It was Gil was at West
there?
Brom with him. Yeah,
Yeah.
about 3 seasons ago, 4 seasons ago.
So admittedly, yes, he was out on loan, but I don't think the loan then made him into the player that he is. I think
No, Eddie Howe's done that.
that he went there
Eddie Howe
basically
wanted him.
trying to get a
of course.
career, and since coming back, there's just been it's very similar to the Joe Linton story. There's just been a complete U-turn in his ability
Yeah,
and
I think-
what he's brought.
I think if he'd cost the same amount of money as Joe Linton when we bought him, he'd be talking in the same kind of the same terms. I think. Yeah, right. Aye.
Dan Whitten saying Jamal Lascelles is a shout. I'm not giving you that one, like, because we bought him and he stayed at Forest, didn't he?
Him and Darlow.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm not giving you that
On
one.
season loan, wasn't it?
Aye, I'm not giving you that one.
Ruben Neves.
But it's interesting
Should've
on the fitness side of things, because I seen this week like Lewis Smiley, and I think this is brilliant from him. He's off his own back. He's doing conditioning work and working with a PT and looking to improve his physique, his strength, to make himself a better player. He's doing individual training and stuff like that with coaches away from the club, like on an evening and stuff like that, like kind of around what he's getting on a day-to-day basis with the club. And it just shows you that he really wants to make a success of his career, and I think it's very, very commendable.
It's really heartening to see that. Like when again we'll go back to kind of the days before the takeover when the lads they were turning up for pre-season. Callum Wilson said they started the first Castile season, the season of the takeover, unfit. Didn't have a good pre-season, and now like I say, they're coming back and they're fit. And Lewis Miley doing what he's doing, and that's for a young lad, 18-year-old, to be doing that. Like,
17?
He's obviously be getting well advised as well from in the club. I think that's someone else you can look at the club and say that's. I think being around the likes of Joe Linton, Bruno, Tonali, Brooks, who have kind of been to the latter stages of competitions, stuff like international footballers, he's going to be looking at that thinking, right, you've got to want to improve and better yourself. I think it's great, mate. I'm really hopeful for him as well.
Yeah.
His brother as well. His brother's in the
Yeah,
under 21s at the minute.
I think it's 3 of them.
Is it?
I think so.
The new Amiobies.
You are me, obviously.
Old Tommy now, get him in.
Right, there's a couple of more questions which we'll go through. We've been going for 50 minutes, believe it or not.
Bloody hell.
50 minutes and we've barely really spoke about anything.
Mark's story about
Newcastle.
Dortmund about 45
Aye,
minutes.
that is true. That is true. So a couple of questions here. And they're a bit obviously off the cuff, yeah, but Oyster says, what's your favourite ever Newcastle United game? Mark, you've probably been at the most because of age, it's on your side. But
53 Cup final.
what's your favourite one? Obviously, you've done a lot of Champions League game first time round.
Like that's
I
the
think
Feyenoord game.
I think that we've asked you this question before, and if I remember right, is it the Feyenoord one?
It would have been on
3-2.
my United.
Right, okay.
Was that my favourite game or was it me?
I don't know how
Unforgettable moment.
The one at the Cape for Bellamy.
Just off the
Yeah.
the top of my head, that's probably the one that I would say, like, because it just the way that game went, ebbed and flowed, and what it meant, the qualification going through, the fact that we won it at the death, basically last kick of the game. Incredible, absolutely incredible.
Can't beat the last minute winner, like, can you?
We've had some good, like in recent times, we've had Chelsea. I remember Isaac Hayden. That one.
Header.
That was the last
Unbelievable,
goal I saw before lockdown.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
Right then, it was a terrible game as well.
Bruno's had a couple as well.
Leicester.
The Gallowgate's Leicester, yeah.
I had Willock against Chelsea last season. Where he runs it across the box and Willock just can't die, thanks.
You don't, like, yes, there's noise at any point when you score a goal, but a last minute winner,
that's
the
unreal, yeah.
noise.
It's the
What's yours favourite, Bestie?
It's hard to say. Like, for years, my answer was beating Forest 5-0 last game of the 96-97 season. Because it got us in the Champions League, but the goal difference was important as well. I seem to recall at the time. Sunderland went down that day, Borough went down that day. It was the season that Borough decided not to play Blackburn and got a point deduction. If they turned up and got beat 1,000-0, they would have stayed up. But because of that, they went down. So that was, what was that, 97, 14-year-old? That was good fun.
40-year-old.
But then, like, I remember Arsenal at home a couple of years ago, last game of the season.
2-0.
Beat them 2.
That was very good, yeah.
2-0, wasn't it?
3, wasn't it?
Yes, maybe.
Maybe 3. When Wilson had that chance where he about 45 yards
Yeah.
out of turns and in the atmosphere. Because for years, and I've said this before on the podcast, but for years, I'd go to the game and the atmosphere wasn't very good. And that's like, was it really that good in the mid 96, 97, 95, 97, 93, 97 really? Was it really that good, or was that just me being young, being impressionable? As the ground changing shape, or we're losing loads of sound over the top of the stand now because it comes out with. But it was that good. Like that game. From the takeover, you forget. The takeover, the Tottenham, the first game after that happened, up until some point last season, the atmosphere was solidly brilliant for a long, long time. And you go to every home game and you know you're going to come back with a sore throat. You're going to have a really good thing. And people are complaining, the Dortmund game in Europe, people are complaining about the atmosphere. So it's definitely changed there. I think that comes with the expectation and stuff. But yeah, that Arsenal game, end of the season before last, was just...
That's a shout, like.
Because people have talked about... was PSG better than Barcelona in 97, the 3-2, PSG 4-1. And the reason people have said the 4-1 was better, and I kind of agree with this, was the Barcelona game. You look at the team, there's John Barnes, Stuart Pearce, John Dahl Thomason. It's a team that you knew was in decline.
Yeah.
You could see it was kind of, they hadn't started the season particularly well. And it was looking a bit kind of, hang on, this is like the end of something. Whereas the PSG game, it's like, this is what we do now.
I think the PSG is mine, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
I wouldn't be surprised. I think that's a very...
And I know it's really
What's
recent,
there?
but that's a game that honestly, if people that watch that game, or if you're at that game, you'll just never forget that. Never.
Yeah.
Well, there's the video shot of us just
Oh, yeah.
just
gobsmacked.
laughing. We're just
Yeah.
laughing because it's just a surreal and ridiculous moment that we're in that position.
Yeah.
Like it's...
But it is, but as I say, that's what we're... I mean, I'm not saying, we're going to be in the Champions League every year and all that, and it's ironic that we might be losing the 5th spot in the Premier League. Have you heard about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Man U are bottom of the group, we're bottom of our group as things stand. So so that will make it a bit harder again to get in next year, should that come to pass. But that's like, we're looking now this season, we're saying, we're nervous, we haven't got much in the way of strikers and all that, and it hasn't been a bad start of the season, but in what, 7th or 7th? couple of points behind Man U, a point behind Man U, maybe ahead of Wayne. Well, like we're fine.
Yeah.
We're grand. But it's we are now a team that are kind of that will be looking to be in Europe every season. Maybe it's not the Champions League necessarily, but the UEFA Cup, the Conference League, whatever it is, and eventually that will become a Champions League every 3 years out, or every 4, 4, 5, whatever it be.
Yeah, become established in that competition.
So it's that PSG game. I don't think it's a bad shout.
Yeah, honestly, I absolutely loved it.
Yeah,
it's unreal, wasn't it? It really was.
The pizza I had was lovely when I was watching it.
Next question is from El Grande Salmon that says, with the exception of Shearer, which transfer did you think was most exciting?
Oh, wow.
How was Stoll? I had one that stole the headlines. Obviously, Shearer stole the headlines because it was
Not
such a big
to that
move.
extent.
A lot of people were...
I heard it was a
Nah, but...
one as well.
that's what I mean. A lot of people were excited
Owen
with the
was,
arrival
yeah,
of Owen.
yeah.
Owen.
as well.
I've got to admit,
was,
one
yeah.
was a one where you thought this is huge.
Yeah.
He did okay to start with as well, you know.
Yeah.
He wasn't a terrible signing, Owen.
He didn't have a bad career at Newcastle, to be honest
Nah.
with him, on the field.
He just kind of he had that injury before the World Cup,
Injuries in here.
and then he kind of started. The brochure didn't help him. Like but I remember the end of the season at Keegan, kind of the half season that he finished off. He had Owen playing behind Martins and Viduka, and it worked well. He was playing as a kind of they were the strikers, and he was a centre forward playing off them, and he did. They were playing well. He was playing well, and I thought, that could be because he had lost his pace, a lot of it by that point. And then that last season, he just kind of didn't really want to know, and it was a bit that wasn't that to me didn't typify his old time at Newcastle, but that was just such a sour note to end it on in the brochure.
It just went rapidly downhill, didn't
Totally,
it? That's the thing of it. If you could take away that last season,
he'd be well remembered, I think.
Yeah.
Michael Owen needed somebody just to take him on one side, somebody in his life guard. Like just take a step back because you're coming across a bit.
But Shearer tried to do that,
Yeah.
and he wasn't interested.
Yeah.
So that's the thing for me. Like when you look at that question, there's been quite a few players where I've thought this is huge, and they've all been absolute dog shit. Like Stefan Givosh, when we signed him, World Cup winner, he'd been brilliant. He came, I think he lasted about one game and ended up settling to Rangers.
Yeah, scored against Liverpool.
You then more recently, you've got the two lads that were consecutive seasons from France that were brought in.
Cabela and Tovan.
Cabela and Tovan.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's a shout. Those
Like
two,
both of them came with huge reputations of being the next big thing out of France, and particularly Tovan probably did all right since going back.
Went
What's
back
his
to
face
Marseille.
as well?
Yeah.
Young Ambiwa.
I think CM De Jong's another one that was kind of
De Jong was both of them, to be fair, like were both
Luke De Jong as well.
both good players when we're kind of linked with them and they came over. And
The other one was Woodgate as well. Those
Woodgate was huge.
Tell you which one I was really excited about, and it seemed I was on holiday at the time. It seemed to come out of the blue. So I was in Mallorca with my mum and dad and our Layla, my sister, in the summer '93. And it was before you got yesterday's papers.
Yeah.
So there's no up to date news. Didn't have mobile phones back then, obviously. And I remember sitting in a bar in the summer, and we were really heavily linked with Sergei Uran. Remember him, the Russian, Soviet Russian centre forward. And my dad rang my granddad. I started asking him if he got Sergei Uran. My dad came back. No, I was saying Peter Beardsley instead. And that was one I thought, because Peter Beardsley was still, he'd been around a long time, but he'd done Everton and Liverpool. And when I was a Bairn, when I started watching football, Beardsley was at Liverpool already. It was only a bit later on when my dad said, he was at Newcastle. Because I remember Chris Waddle being at Newcastle just. Couldn't really remember Gascoigne playing forward. But Peter Beardsley was like, Peter Beardsley's coming to Newcastle. Maybe Keegan's manager as well,
brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Even though he was totally unproven as a manager and we were like right in the doldrums, it was a proper throw the dice at. But again, because I can't remember Beardsley as a player, he left when I was like 3 or whatever it was, 2 or 3 year old. My dad, I remember vividly walking in the kitchen at the house at Bishop Avenue where I grew up, and I just buzzing at Kevin Keegan was like, he was Kevin Keegan. He was like, what? Maybe he's not Beckham, but he was a super famous English player, European Player of the Year and all that. Like, it was Kevin Keegan coming to Newcastle. I couldn't believe it.
Who's it been in most recent years then? So if we think about takeover since the
takeover,
yeah,
Trippier. Trippier's the huge name, isn't he?
I'm trying to think who else.
We excited with that one though.
Well, Trippier, yeah. I mean, well,
There's a difference between bringing a striker and then bringing a right back in, isn't
yeah.
there?
But Bruno, for me, I'd like,
Yeah.
you all know,
You were.
you're the
I
expert, yeah.
couldn't believe that we were getting him.
Yeah.
Like, it just didn't compute that we were going to be, that would even entertain signing him. And, you know, everybody now knows, a couple of years later, of how good he is and, you know, what an amazing bit of business it was to get a hold of him. But
Should have been sent off against Arsenal.
everybody knew how good Trippier was, what they were getting with him, because they've seen him do it, you know, regularly, probably mainly at Spurs.
Yeah.
In his time there, and obviously for England, and then when he went over to Madrid, watching him in the Champions League and stuff like that. But
I hadn't realised how good he was.
yeah,
Trippier is.
yeah,
The Trippier one for me was a weird one because he was the first one in, wasn't he, after the takeover? So that was a point at which I think, had won one game against Burnley that season up to that point. And we were shit. Like, we were really, really bad. And when he signed up, I remember, I'm sure I was sitting here saying, he's not signed for us without being told, right, we're going to get a few more in.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we're
There's a
setting up.
reason. Yeah.
And so it came to pass. But yeah, Trippier, as much as it being him, Kieran Trippier, England international, that free kick against Croatia in the World Cup and all that, Atletico Madrid won the cup and stuff. As much as it being about Kieran Trippier, the player signing, it was what he was
After.
What that meant for the club. So yeah, and he's been unbelievable. Like I've never, as you said there, I didn't know how good Trippier was until I saw him regularly myself. He's like a wonderful footballer.
To be fair, there's been a couple there. So you look at Trips, but then you look at Isak as well.
Yeah.
You look at Bruno, but then I think you have to look at Botman as well.
Botman, yeah. But again, relatively unknown.
Yeah, that's what
Like-
You're challenging with Milan for your signature, though.
That's
that's the thing with the players that we've brought in, though. And a lot of them have been. It's not been the kind of usual, the merry-go-round, as it were. Like, you know, they're young players from abroad. I didn't know much about Isak. Didn't know much about Botman. Nick Pope was kind of. I didn't know how good Pope was because he was Burnley goalkeeper. He was all right and been in a few England squads, but I didn't really. I thought, is he better than the Afghan? Obviously he is. Anthony Gordon was another one who I've caught. I thought would be a good signing, but he'd lost weight Everton a bit.
hated him, hated Everton, you know.
I did, but
Yeah, I don't think anybody liked him, but I
It's
think
James, I don't
everybody
like-
saw there's potential there.
I don't
Oh,
like
yeah.
Jordan Pickford, but he's clearly a good goalkeeper.
Yeah.
He is. He's a great goalkeeper. It's easy if we get under his skin, so he plays awfully at St James's. But he's clearly, and Gordon was the same. I hated him when he's at Everton, but then when he signed him, he kind of like, you look at some of the stuff he does. You get the YouTube compilations or whatever, TikTok or the Facebook stuff you see.
Try to pretend he's young there, and he.
And I.
He's got no
That's
idea.
not-
He only knows what tic-tac is.
You know that TikToker.
TICK. But like you look at the little things with Gordon. There's one of he's chasing the ball like what Rooney used to do when he chased the ball deep and all that. Like, and I always thought that was a little bit it belied a bit of a lack of discipline, to be honest with you. But and he was doing it. You think, oh, there's someone there. Like, and when he's playing against us, he's looked good for just being a dickhead with it or a shithouse or whatever. And then when he's playing for you, like when he signed, I thought, I think people don't want him because they don't like him as an individual rather than being as a player. I was really hopeful for him, and sure enough, I mean, it's only been not even halfway through his first full season with us, but he has been like wonderful so far. Really, really good.
It was pretty fresh in the memories as well. Obviously, his performance against Newcastle, where there was him and Fabian Shaw and Trippier had a bit of a
Well, they used that in
bust up, didn't they?
the video, didn't they?
They did, yeah.
In the
But a lot of the negative side of his game that we're seeing at Everton, he's not doing that as much yet. There's
what?
been a couple of occasions
Hang
where
on,
he
like
has
what?
where he has tumbled a bit easily.
What negative things are you not brought with
he
him?
wins free kicks.
His negative things are a negative when you're watching him play for another club. When
Yeah.
you play for your club, they're
I,
positive things.
I still don't like him to take a dive.
I do if it wins with a penalty and we'll win the game. Keep on doing it,
I think he
sunshine.
got pushed. That's why I think he got pushed. That one, which one was it?
He's talking about Gabriel again. He's talking about Gabriel again. Arsenal player.
I thought you meant the singer.
That one with the eye patch.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we've been blessed, haven't we, since the takeover with all these signings that were brought in.
The worst one.
I only mentioned Tonali.
No. The worst signing, well, I mean, Tonali at the minute would be because of that. I think he'll end up being a very good signing, but probably Chris Wood. And Chris Wood wasn't a bad signing. It just happens that the signings have all been that good. Dan Burns being a regular, being brilliant. People people forget with Dan Burns how much better than what we had he is. I remember his debut at home to Villa, and they were getting the ball over the top, and he used to like Lascelles, and this isn't meant to be this service to Jamal Lascelles, but he just put his head through it and it went forward and it would probably come back.
Yeah.
Whereas Dan Burn would just kind of take a little step back and just play it over the defender, the midfielder, to John Joe, to Bruno. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, hang on a second. This bloke can play football, yeah.
More composed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, people go to say he's got weak links, so hasn't got the pace, but I just like him.
Yeah.
It's weird because I think that Dan Burn has been quite an old bloke. And then I watched the fourth part of the Amazon thing this week, a couple of nights ago.
Bit of a young whippersnapper to you.
And I was thinking, he's like 10 years younger than me, yeah. Yeah.
I didn't realize he's 42.
Oh, not you as well.
I think, do you know what it is? We've been going for an hour and 5 minutes, but I just want to touch on one thing as well. And this was put in the WhatsApp group earlier. The designer, he's a designer, isn't he? And he claims that he's seen
Yes.
the new Adidas kits as well.
Craig somewhere there, isn't it?
I can't remember. I did have it earlier.
Oh,
but,
Chris.
yeah, sorry, everybody. Sorry, Craig, if that's what you called. But Mark, it was on the Chronicle website, which is
The worst website. in the world.
terrible.
I tell-
Absolutely terrible.
Joint with, I was looking at someone for some reason on Bristol Post today. I was about
Well,
Glastonbury,
it's any of those
Trinity.
medias, yeah.
and it was like,
any
oh,
of them.
You get the reach thing that comes. I was like, oh, Christ, you kind of navigate. This is a horrible website.
But it's because people don't buy papers anymore, so they have to make revenue through adverts because they kind of put it in print.
It's mad.
That's
though,
100% why it is,
Talk
isn't it?
about making adverts. This is completely off topic. Adverts, revenue for adverts, but that's the reason what puts me off going on the website.
Yeah.
So there must be more than just me going. I'm not even going on it.
It's
No,
not,
but if
it's
you
not the
bought it-
adverts that bother me. It's how, like, the advert, you're reading a story, you get half a sentence.
Yeah.
And then
There'll
a
be
picture,
a video
will
an
pop up.
advert, a video pop in the corner. Then you'll get a, do you want to sign up? No, I don't want to sign up. You've got to accept my cookies. I'll read. Another line, then another. It's like, well, just at least have it so you can read the story. Have adverts by all means. But
Going on the Chronicle website, it's very similar to walking down the Magaluf Strip, isn't it? You just can't take two steps
it's horrible.
without somebody trying to drag you in somewhere else. That is the
Well,
Chronicle
I think
website.
it's a horrible website, and I'll unfollow the Chronicles Newcastle account ages ago because it's shit as well.
It's a valid enough
It's rubbish.
reason, Bestie.
The content's shite. And this isn't meant to be. I'm not having to go at, like the lads who work there. It's the editorial stuff. Who it's obviously come from above, saying like,
Yeah.
clickbait. What 5 things did we learn about that Newcastle kid video? What 5 things did we learn about Tonali's boots? Just
It's ever since
Be
Mark Douglas
journalists.
left, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's ever since Mark
since Mark
Douglas
went,
left.
since Dougie went the eye, yeah. But no, it's the lads. The lads who work there listen to the podcast. It's a good listen. At times. But the shite the churn out on the website's terrible.
Well, if you've got an
For the
iPhone,
most part.
if you've
Sorry,
got an iPhone, do what I got these guys to do today. Press the reader view in the top corner in your navigation bar. It's 2 capital A's.
yeah,
Makes it so much easier
it's
to read.
much easier.
Gets rid of all your adverts and all the shite.
But then does it read like a script?
No, it reads like a
Well,
proper.
it
You
reads-
still
it
get the
reads well, I
picture
did it for that,
and
yeah,
everything like that. Much better.
Oh, right, okay.
I feel as if I should clarify. Like when you read a match report from the Chronicle, fair enough. It's a good,
How are you now going to clarify? Because you just went, I've unfollowed it because it's shit.
It is shit. It is shit. But that's not. That's not me having to go at Lee Ryder or this is like
Yeah.
not this time.
I'm glad you didn't mention player ratings in that.
Dummett was regularly good.
Shocking.
He was a solid 7 out of 10. But not like
Not when he didn't even play.
But when it's actual news, fair enough. At least the content's good. But when it's just the shit clickbait stuff, like, how about lads do better than that?
I'm with you. Obviously, it's nothing against the lads at work.
No.
For them, it's Reach, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it Reach PLC
I
or
think
whatever?
Trinity
That's one
Mirror,
of
I
them,
think, own them, but I don't know
Yeah.
if that's become Reach or what. Like,
It is a shame that it is. And I remember a couple of years back when we'd done the.
But if people bought newspapers, it wouldn't be the problem.
but
But people don't want to pay money.
Think about the paper, man.
People
It's not
complain that they have to pay £1 a month to read The Athletic.
But the newspaper is obsolete as soon as it's printed. It is. The content in the newspaper, as soon as it's printed, is obsolete.
Aye, well, but so is that's only relevant because you can then make an edit to a story if it's on a website, isn't it? The story's not going to change that much
Yes.
if it's an article, unless it's a
Well, yeah, but
breaking news or
Well,
something
actually,
like
when
that.
you think about it, right? If you go back and we'll keep it a Newcastle topic, remember when we're going to sign Loic Remy? I bought that paper saying we've signed him. The next day, he's playing for QPR. So it does change.
He would have been well at the top of my list
Yeah,
of
great
strikers.
player.
He was brilliant.
Great player.
If it's just something permanently. He was.
Yeah,
he was.
he
I mean,
was
even
brilliant.
on loan for that season, he was unreal.
Yeah, he was
like,
a great player.
Great player. Right.
Just an arsehole,
And Apple.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. Anything else? We didn't even discuss the kids.
So I wasn't having to go late.
His balls.
Oh, yeah,
Complaining
unless you
about
want to
the-
clarify. Come on,
complaining
Vince.
No,
about
I've done.
Chronicle.
The lads are fine. The news is fine. It's just a clickbait. It's rubbish. But
Yeah.
it's not. That's not their fault. That's from upstairs. though.
I heard he called Andrew Musgrove a nincompoop.
Obviously, you read the article now. Does it give you any giveaways as to what the kits might be?
No.
Black and white stripes for the home kit.
They've gone with black and white.
It said the fella says that he says that Newcastle fans will be blown away by it. He says he's somehow been privy. I don't think he's seen the kits, but he knows what the designs are. Is the kind of gist of what I read. Obviously, he's designed his own 3 kits. There's like a half-hour long, 45-minute long video.
No,
of
it's
him.
longer than that.
Isn't that what
Yeah, I think it's over an hour. So you interviews like ex-players and fans and stuff like that about what kits mean to them, and then
The
design
home one
his
looks
own.
like the championship one, doesn't it?
I didn't care for the home one.
The
Like,
original.
I didn't like the
championship
home one. It was well. He's tried to do it. He's taken aspects of all of the best home kits and tried to amalgamate them into one. And I think that's why, for me, it didn't work. The away kit is very much a rehash, and he admitted it, of the 95, 97 with the hoops.
Football collar as well, isn't it?
So
Green and yellow one is
the third kit is
shaggable.
The
That
pitch,
looks.
unbelievable.
I've been crying out for a green and
Beautiful.
away kit for forever.
But then I've seen people not liking that. Oh, I don't like the Norwich kit.
Well, but this
Just
is
yellow and green.
this is what I was going to say. So to
our classic colours.
blow Newcastle fans away, we can't agree on anything.
No.
So you're not going to do that.
But I love what he's done. And I put this in the group at the same time as Darryl said exactly the opposite. Was like each. So this isn't to say that this is what the new kits are going to be. Although Adidas have
There's a good chance on the third kit though, because
Yeah.
that's why he's done it.
Adidas. So Adidas, for people who don't know, on the third kits this season, on the elite whatever called blue chip teams, have got a slightly different badge.
Yes.
So the Man U one is just a devil. I think Roma's is just the
wolf head. Arsenal's just a cannon.
Yeah. So etc. So there's a good chance that I think he's thought that, and so right, here's what we could. So the home kit on the ones he's done, the home kit is the badge,
Normal one,
the
yeah.
Newcastle badge. The away kit was the
NUFC
80s badge,
Yep.
and the third kit was the kind of circular late 70s, early 80s
Keep
badge.
and Seahorse.
Yeah, that's
circle one.
that's what it's a magpie. The magpie.
Oh, it is a magpie.
Yeah, aye.
Of course it is.
One for sorrow.
Steps.
So he's done that now. I love that. Because there's been talk for a long time about, since the takeover about, are they going to update the logo? Because Villa have just done theirs, Man City did theirs after their takeover. Every club, who was I looking at this week? That's done it loads of Italy. It was clubs, nations, whatever, change them quite regularly. And ours has been the same, except for it's monochrome on the away kits these days. We'll have the 125 anniversary thing, whatever that was, 5 years ago, 6 years ago. But I love the idea of having the different, because we'll have 3, apart from the City coat of arms that we had in the 70s, and there was a weird one from that time as well. I didn't get any kits. I love the idea of having a different one for each one, because then you don't necessarily need to change it, because you've got 3 versions that we're all familiar with, that we all kind of, as fans, everyone, if those badges will be someone's favourite, a lot of people's favourites. So if you want the circular, the NUFC one,
My favorite.
if you want to make that because it's circular, so it's easy to present. It's print. It's one color, so it saves on money that way, which is apparently a thing for badges these days.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
You can bang that on a baseball cap. You can put it on a T-shirt, on a training kit. And people go, "I'll buy that. That's great.
Yeah.
That's ours." Why not do that?
So the first,
I think that's
the first season that they do something like that as well. Those will be the shirts just to stockpile.
yeah,
Get a couple of
absolutely. I think that's a great idea, because if they are talking about changing the logo, which I don't think I've not heard a conversation about that for a while now, but if I think that's a perfect way to do it, because it's the heritage of the club as well and all that. And it's not like if they brought something new out, you get a lot of slaughter, because you're saying they were kind of agree on kit colours and stuff. Imagine a different logo. Some people are going to love it. It's shite that it's got nothing to do
all
with
3.
It's rubbish. Have the 3 old ones, or the current one and the 2 old ones,
Yeah.
and then you problem solved. So my dad, if you're watching, my dad will be watching.
You know.
Amanda, if you're watching, there's your answer.
Mark's going to a secret meeting, so I know you. Have you gone to any secret meetings? Oh, you wouldn't be able to tell them,
can
would
he?
you?
There might be one on Wednesday.
Secret meeting?
It's not that secret.
All right, is that the one that
I think
you had
it's
to
3,000
enter a
people
ballot to go
invited.
to?
Not a lot of people know about.
They're now doing ballots for secret
They
meetings
announced,
again.
they announced this one.
Could they not do it on loyalty points instead?
Imagine. Should do one podcast. We do podcasts. You should get there straight away.
if you're a face,
Do that away games, don't they?
If you're a super fan, oh, yeah,
Well, that's how I
apparently
went to Dortmund.
Late.
Joking, obviously.
That's us done. Okay, thanks everybody for watching. It's been a pleasure as always. There's been a great comment that looks from a distance. It looks like you're in a PSG kit on camera.
Does it?
Yeah, because you've got the red stripe
Oh,
down the
no,
middle.
yeah, yeah. Is it, or is it?
Except it's pink and
It's, I
black.
thought it was like a washed out.
That is not pink.
That's different.
That's not pink.
That's pink.
Is it shite?
No, that's pink. That's pink.
Pinkish. It's more like a kind of.
Reddish.
It's already pink.
That's not red.
It's not. It's not like a red.
Pink, that man. Cerise. Is that a colour?
The cerise is about. It's a very loud pink. Is cerise?
Is it?
Yeah.
So it's not cerise.
So
Definitely
cerise. It's like a
pink.
pastel pink.
I can see, looking at there, I can see what, like the dark here and the stripe down the middle.
And
But
the
it's
night-
not. It's not red and it's not navy blue.
All right. Thanks everybody
black
for
and
joining
pink.
me. So, like I said, it has been a
I think
pleasure.
the white on the border as well helps.
Yeah.
On the zip
Don't forget, like the video. Means a lot to us. Become a subscriber.
means nothing to me.
Bestie loves it. As soon as he comes in, he goes, "You see how many likes we got last week?" That is the
All them
first
subscribers
sentence out of
that we got.
Bestie's mouth. That closely followed by an old joke for Mark. Become a subscriber. Costs nothing to do that. Become a member. Just $2.99 a month to do that as well. And plenty of stuff over on that. If you are listening to the audio, just give us a 5-star rating as well. And that's all that we'll ask for. That's it. We'll be back next week and we'll actually talk about some football probably.
Oh God, I've got to.
Yeah.
Who got the
Got
weekend?
game,
Arsenal,
Chelsea.
isn't it? Oh, Chelsea.
Chelsea.
Oh, Arsenal's
Chelsea on
Arsenal,
Saturday.
Chelsea. But yeah, we'll see you then. Plenty more stuff coming this week. You'll have match previews and everything else associated. If you do just like listening to audio as well, you can go and listen to Canny Chatter as well this week. So Canny Chatter talk about their first games that they went to, the first memories of being a Newcastle United fan. And Scranny Chatter was about bakeries.
Ooh.
So the favourite items from bakeries, Greg's, Coupland's, Milligan's, wherever else you get your bakeries.
That was
from.
last week, though, wasn't it?
Little.
No, that was this week.
What
Well,
day is it?
sorry,
Yeah.
last week.
Aye,
They do
last
it every
week,
2
wasn't
weeks.
it? Yeah, yeah.
They do it every two weeks. Actually, to end it on, one answer, very quickly. What's your favourite thing from Greg's? Bestie?
Has it got to be a pastry or a
Pastry. Has to be a pastry.
Can we do a savoury and a
No,
sweet?
because we're being really quick. Has to be a pastry this week.
sausage, bean, and cheese melt?
Good shout. Mark?
My favourite thing is a custard slice, but it's
That-
called a Bavarian slice, but that's sweet. Chicken bake.
Chicken bake. Shout. I do like a steak bake,
Gone off them.
but I'm with Bestie. Sausage and bean melt. Apart from, if that's your regulars, obviously, I do love a festive bake.
But it's festive bake.
Oh yeah,
time now, it's Christmas.
I'll deviate on occasion. Like I like the pizza slices are nice. I love the tandoori baguettes. My thing with baguettes, right, is you got it at Morrison's. Morrison's do the baguettes in a meal deal, but it's not crisp. It's not crispy. It's a sub. The bread's soft. You
Yeah.
want a baguette?
Ah,
a
you've
baguette.
got-
You want to scratch
Baguette's
it.
got to have a crunch.
You want to scratch your
Got to
gums.
cut your mouth to bits.
You
doesn't
want
it?
to scratch your gums when you're getting into a baguette. Like so, the Morrison's.
Eat
Greg's
for less.
Pardon?
That's where you want to go. Eat for less. Top of Northumberland Street.
is just still.
Great baguettes then.
Yeah. Well, no, I thought about going there.
Thanks, everybody. See you later. Ta-ra.
Might not live in